Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of October 25th. Welcome to the staff, the board members, Dr. Baker, and the audience. Thank you for being here. We'll be beginning the meeting with the flag salute, and we actually have a special guest. The entire Toyokawa delegation is here, but Jo Lin will be leading us in the salute.
Please put your right hand over your heart. Please recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, that was very professional.
I was going to say, thank you very much. I can learn from you. The next board president can learn. Okay, that was awesome. If they need to. Okay. Board agenda approval. Does anyone have any amendments to the agenda, or can I get a motion?
I move.
Phyllis moves the agenda as is. May I have a second?
Second.
Anjali seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Okay, next we have a very exciting presentation from the Toyokawa delegation.
Good evening, Dr. Baker, board members, CUSD staff members. Thank you so much for having us today. I'm Elisa Sakas. I'm the president of the Cupertino Toyokawa Sister Cities. And today we have our delegates here that are ending their almost year-long time with us, being student delegates. And so our committee every year in partnership with CUSD does this student delegation. We want to thank you so much for this partnership. We obviously couldn't do it without your cooperation and all your help, so thank you very much. We also have a Cherry Blossom Festival at the end of April every year. I gave you each a little postcard that's hot off the press. And also you are the very, very, very first recipients of new lapel pins we had made. They just came in the mail last night, so you're the first ones to get one of those. Every 5 years, we have an adult delegation, and this is our 40th anniversary, so we're having an adult delegation this year. And we are very, very honored that Dr. Baker is going to be one of our officials accompanying us on the delegation. So we're really looking forward to that. We, of course, hosted the adult delegates already in July, so the delegates from Cupertino will be visiting Toyokawa in just a couple of short weeks. To commemorate our 40th anniversary, we had these awards made, and I want to present one to Dr. Baker. So I am going to bring that over to you.
It's going to be the best year ever.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. There's a box under your table. Keep that.
Oh, thank you.
Here, let's get a little
You haven't even done anything yet.
You got a general comment? Or?
No.
We're very lucky to have him come on the delegation. Phyllis has been to Toyokawa before, Anjali, and actually Gary McHugh, a former board member, is going to be accompanying us on the delegation too. So we're very happy to have that representation from CUSD. So without further ado, I'd like to invite up the student delegates. They want to tell you about their trip, and I'd like to introduce our lead chaperone, Stephanie Dong, who will start off the introductions. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Dong. I am one of the assistant principals at Stockelmeyer Elementary, and I'm very excited to present to you the delegation that traveled to Toyokawa in June and July over the summer. They will introduce themselves, let you know the middle school they represented, and share something memorable from their trip.
Hi, my name is Jo Lin, and I represented Miller Middle School to go on this trip. One of my most favorite memories there was the weekend we stayed with our host families because we got to bond with them a lot, and they brought us to a lot of cool places in Japan.
Hello, my name is Elise Vominep. I represent Cupertino Middle School. I really enjoyed when they came over for the weekend, giving them a tour of Stanford and Google and all of the big companies here, because they were very surprised to be able to see these things. So I'm glad they enjoyed it, and so did I.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Lee, and I represented Kennedy Middle School. And one of my favorite memories was when we visited the middle schools in Japan. And even though there was a language barrier, they really went out of their way to help us and show us part of their culture.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Lee. I represented Kennedy Middle School, and one of my most cherished memories was going to the Japanese festival Yomise and trying some very interesting foods.
Hi, my name is Emily Wong, and I represented Cupertino Middle School. And one of my favorite memories is when they took us to see fireworks, and we could actually see how they lit it up. And it was really dangerous, but it was still really fun to watch.
Hi, my name is Amog Chowdia, and I represented Lawson Middle School. One of my favorite memories was our host families taking us to the supermarket and asking us what we wanted. We didn't understand a single word they said, but we still had fun and we enjoyed interacting with each other.
Hi, my name is Ryan Chen, and I attend Miller Middle School. And one of my favorite memories was going to a roller coaster park with my host families. But since I've never been on one, it was really scary, but really fun at the same time.
Hi, my name is Lance Wynn, and I represented Cupertino Middle School. One of my favorite part of the trip was staying with the host families, and there was this one night where we played cards, and I have that memory with meeting their siblings and having fun.
Hi, my name is Salvador Bure, and I've represented Cupertino Middle School. And one of my favorite memories while I was there was when I went to their middle school, and everyone tried to talk to us and tell us what was happening, and that was really fun.
Hi, I'm Lance Tong. I went to Kennedy Middle School, go Cougars. And one of my favorite memories was probably one of the kids in Toyokawa who was at our middle school and led us to our classes, who knew a lot about NBA basketball, which I'm a big fan of. Sadly, he was a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, but it's okay.
Hi, my name is Pavitra Harsha. I represented Hyde Middle School, and one of my favorite memories was the kindness my host family showed me. They really treated me like a third child, and even with the language barrier, they were just really nice to me. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Daniel Frey. I represented Cupertino Middle School, and one of my favorite memories was when we went with the host family to a sushi restaurant, and we had a competition who could eat more food between, so one team was me, my partner Lance, and our host, kid, and then on the other team was his two older siblings and his parents, and we won.
Hi, my name is Anna Kirsch. I teach language arts, social studies, and drama over at Cupertino Middle School. We just want to thank you guys so much for the opportunity, and of course the Sister City organization. Beyond just meeting the fabulous students and teachers over in Toyokawa, it just made me realize how fortunate we are to have such amazing students here in Cupertino who made this trip so successful. Thank you.
So with that, Dr. Baker, we have for you a photo book. It gets better, I know, of some memories that you might look forward to that each of the students captured with a journal and some photo entries of their experiences.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know some of the other board members participated. Do you want to share anything or say anything? Okay.
I just want to say that I think this is one of the best partnerships we do in Cupertino, and I'm so proud that it's lasted 40 years. I didn't go 40 years ago, but I went a few years ago. And I have to tell you, it is a wonderful experience for the chaperones and a wonderful experience for the kids. And I know the adult delegation is going to have a wonderful time in November. So thank you. Thank you for the partnership.
I would echo that too. I've been to Toyokawa, and my kids have been, and I know it's a great experience you all had. And I'm sure some of you will be writing about it in your college apps because I've seen that happen before. And wishing you all good luck, and thank you for continuing the partnership.
And I went to the luncheon. I know that this takes a lot of volunteers, their time to coordinate such wonderful events. Thank you for all the volunteers for making this so successful year after year.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you.
Every photo they're in a group, they're in this order. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Once we have one caption.
Are we in?
You are all in. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, couple more.
Next up, employee organizations.
Thank you.
Is any comments from employee organizations? Okay, then we'll move to public comment. Well, I guess we'll wait just a minute for, yeah. That's our audience. I think all our other fans are watching from home. Thousands. Okay, we have one public comment from Greg Cohen. And Greg has been here before, so you know the drill. 3 minutes from when you start. Yeah.
It's nice to see the levity in this room, which hasn't always been here. So I just wanted to say public comment is tough, and I've even heard it called the tyranny of the 3 minutes, because it is hard to cover a complex idea in less than 180 seconds. As I have drafted my comments over the years, they always start much longer than the time allocated and present a more balanced picture of what's going well and where we can improve. But as I trim for brevity, all I ever have room for is where I feel we've gone off course and what needs to be addressed. So I wanted to use my 3 minutes tonight to focus on the positive, to say there is so much going well, and that has gone well in the district, that should be celebrated, and I am always impressed with the passion, dedication, and professionalism of our CUSD staff and faculty. There are a few members within the district who I'd especially like to recognize this evening, Leslie Maines, for providing support and guidance over years now and during a particularly challenging period last year as I served on West Valley School Site Council, Jeff Bowman for his support and responsiveness to numerous questions and requests around survey data, and Dr. Baker for changing the tone for community input and creating a more inclusive process. One of my children has slight learning differences. At the site level, I found it remarkable that all our West Valley teachers, original and post-reconstitution, were adept at understanding my child's needs and adjusting to them without having to pull out the 504 plan. At Cupertino Middle School, Ms. Doreen Carter was such a caring and amazingly effective the kit for my child, and Gina Freitas has picked up where she left off. Assistant Principal Jeannie Wang has provided ongoing support and problem solving, and Principal Cellini has consistently put student needs first. We've also had a number of amazing teachers at Cupertino Middle School. 3 that deserve special mention in regard to my family are Miss Susan Ricky Morrow, Mr. Adam Waddell, and Miss Ranjana Iyengar, who have all gone above and beyond in accommodating my child's differences and making it a priority in their day. Lastly, I know it has not been easy to sit on this board over the past few years, and I want to thank you for your selfless service as the district worked through a true crisis. To paraphrase Martin Luther King, the ultimate measure of a person is not where they stand in moments of comfort and convenience, but where they stand at times of challenge and controversy. Thank you for seeing the district through this valley and putting it back on a strong footing. And I guess at this point, my 3 minutes is probably about up. 22 seconds. So just a large thank you. And it's been a long time for me to find room to be able to talk about the positive. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So we have the consent items. Can I get a motion?
I move 4.1 through 4.6.
May I have a second?
I second.
Okay, Anjali moves, Kristen seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. I wanted to make a quick comment about 4.1. Actually ask Leslie if there's any parent advisory committee members here, if she'd want to say anything about the parent advisory committee.
So just a couple of things that I wanted to note on this. Sorry. So the list that you have, there were some open spots, and that's ever changing. And so one of the ways that you can keep up to date on any changes, additions to PAC or DLAC, it's actually listed on the website, so it's live. So there are a couple additions since this was posted for public. In addition to that, the dates of the meetings are listed on the website, and so I can also recap that for you in an email. And then, thanks, this was perfect timing because Jerry walked in also, but we have 2 members sitting in the public that are a part of our Parent Advisory Committee. It's a Parent Advisory Committee and District English Language Advisory Committee. We're joining them together, Allison and myself, and so we've got Lori Ann Cunningham, who is one of our PAC members, and Jerry Liu, who is another one of our PAC members, who were able to be here tonight. So we thank them for their support.
Thank you. Next up, we have the information presentation items. 5.1 is the STEAM update. We have Marie, Amy, and Allison. And I guess it's going to be mostly Marie and Amy. If there's anyone else here in the audience that is part of your presentation, please let us know.
Do you have a dongle?
Good evening, everyone. We are here to provide you an update on the STEAM work that we've been doing in our district. So first of all, I'd like to review our STEAM vision. This has been tweaked a little bit since the last time we presented our vision. So our vision is that we want our students to be engaged global citizens who intentionally innovate positive change in the world. Students will have personalized learning experiences through the power of learning by doing and creating solutions to real-world challenges. We will develop skilled, imaginative, collaborative, and resilient problem solvers who will be our civically engaged and thoughtful leaders of the future. One of the things that you'll notice about our STEAM vision is that nowhere in this does it actually say science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And this is intentional. We really believe that that STEAM is really about applying those skills in those subject areas to real-world and authentic problem solving, and really just good teaching and learning practices. So we've been diving in to try to define what is STEAM and why is it so important. And as we've been working through it, looking at various resources and reviewing this with different staff members across the district, some things have been emerging. So first of all, STEAM for us is about authentic integration across 2 or more content areas, and doing this through observation, inquiry, and problem solving. STEAM is also really important for building skills in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and connecting these skills through the core processes of interpretation, communication, analysis, and synthesis. STEAM for us is really about students thinking deeply and asking meaningful questions, questions that they may or may not be able to just find easy solutions to, and solving problems. Also really important to this is that arts integration piece. And we want that arts integration to be not just an enhancement, but a way of communicating and connecting content areas so that it can improve understanding. And also what's really important is that we emphasize this iterative learning process, because that is a critical 21st century skill, and we want our students to be able to design, build, think flexibly, and learn from failure. I'm going to pass this over to Marie.
Thanks, Amy. So there's a number of different learning opportunities that STEAM offers us through the Next Generation Science Standards. Those are happening right now. We have new technology standards. We've got our visual and performing arts standards, the Common Core. So many of these different pieces fit together under STEAM. In addition to that, we have opportunities to actually integrate them all through maker activities. We have ways to integrate it together through challenges that we offer in the classroom, the use of many different kinds of tools, including digital storytelling tools. So there's lots of different opportunities that we have for children right now. One of the areas that Amy was talking about was challenge-based learning, and that's an area where we can really dig deep into the content that the students are learning, and we're able to apply their learning into real-world contexts. So looking for ways that we can deeply engage students and get them excited about learning, that's where we're heading with STEAM. I have a little video that I want to share with you that is queued up here to just give you a taste of what we're talking about. So this is an example from a classroom. Oops.
Yeah. What are the stories that we read about spiders? How are the spiders portrayed? Jonas?
In a horrible way. People think that spiders are like scary or dangerous, and actually they're not.
Right. We've been working on our spider stories for quite a while, because they are the way that we're solving our problem. Why write stories?
It changes people's minds.
And what else can it change?
Their hearts.
Their hearts. Every student studied their own spider. They did research on all of the attributes of that spider. Then they had to take those facts and create a story around them.
The spider I've been researching is the broad-faced sack spider. My story is about this little spider trying to find a home and all the problems it gets through to find the perfect place to live. It has long legs. This writing project is actually helping us learn how to write better, because you can look back at your research and then you can know like the facts.
He dove to eat the spider. What I hope that I'm building are like tiny problem solvers. It's a really appropriate way for them to practice those lifelong skills.
Brother didn't see him, so he went past the edge.
When I think about how to identify a quality problem, I think about what is the authentic context that I can situate that problem within. Our school's called Two Rivers, and one of those two rivers is the Anacostia that is not swimmable or fishable.
Our website needs to teach kids all about the river ecosystem, both its problems and how we can make it healthy again.
So they're creating a website.
So start to think about this third question. What changes can we make to improve?
We get to teach kids about the Anacostia and what makes the ecosystem healthy.
Partnering with the Anacostia Watershed Society is giving kids the idea that this is a real world connection.
We work with Two Rivers. The students are really taking part in an authentic restoration project.
I like that the topic isn't taught to you. You have to figure stuff out. We go on field studies so we can see what it actually looks like. Then solutions like rain barrels, wetland plants.
It's not that we're looking at, what's happening with the rainforest. Everything that they do every day is impacting the water. It's much more powerful for them to be involved in something that's part of their own community.
As kids move through our school, they all are working within the
Bring it back. So the idea of even problem solving within our own community, having kids be active researchers, being able to really contribute to the community through the work that they're doing, that's active challenge-based problem solving that we would really like to engage our students in. So that's a part of STEAM. And here's some ideas that we have that we are working on right now, piloting some engineering curriculum to really help embed that problem solving within what they're doing in the classroom, project-based or problem-based learning where they can apply those 21st century skills that we saw modeled by those students, skills such as communicating, collaborating, critically thinking, being creative. And then also digital storytelling, so being able to tell the story of what they're learning and make an impact with that. In our Cooper Doodle program, we're also looking at dawn to dusk STEAM programs. So we're looking at ways to extend that learning and really make a powerful contribution for the students. And then another aspect that we're looking at is maker learning. And so this approach really provides the engagement and accessibility while also building skills for students. So it's an entry point for students. It includes a lot of hands-on and creative learning. It's also design-centered. So I have another video, this one's shorter, to share with you.
Molly, can you please take out the trash? Hey, Molly.
Class, let's turn to page 136, recessive traits and
How's the new movement sequence going?
Great. Let me show you.
Please do.
I reprogrammed the robots to do the inspection. It's running much faster now. See?
So there's a maker kid in the making there. Let me get back over. So some of the maker opportunities that we are looking at are maker carts, and we're actually starting to go out and pilot these right now and get lots of feedback. We've had a wonderful response to these so far. The kids are very excited about them. Maker spaces, we're working on that in the middle schools. STEAM maker challenges, we'd like to have challenges across the grade levels. A maker fair, a STEAM maker fair, as well as STEAM parent nights. And so the last thing that I want to share, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Amy. We're starting in different ways with our teachers and in our classrooms. So some might just be starting at the splashing around, just dabbling, trying out, and tinkering in the classroom. So those are our floaties. But then there's others that are being very systematic and trying out. They're the rowboats, trying out ways to add different elements to their lessons to STEAMify a lesson. So maybe they're adding engineering into a math lesson or adding art to a science lesson. So there's different ways to go about it and just expand what they're already doing. And then we've got our speedboats. They're just taking off. They're adding technology and math and engineering and science, and they are just going for it. Every single type of learning is really important. Every type of teacher who is embarking in STEAM provides really valuable feedback. Those that are just starting and watching, they're taking in a lot of information and they're giving us feedback all the time. Those that are being very systematic about it, it's so helpful when they think very specifically how to go about doing this, and they give us feedback. And those that are the risk takers that are just taking off, they also give us a lot of feedback because they will try things, they'll find out what doesn't work and let us know. So the main point of that is that we value all of the teachers in the way that they're going about integrating STEAM into their teaching, and it's really helping us greatly. Amy has a more elegant way to present this, so I'm going to pass it over to Amy.
One of the models I wanted to share, you might already be familiar with it or you might have seen this before. It's the SAMR model. Typically, it's used to share ideas around technology integration, and it's a model developed by Dr. Ruben Quintadera. And Sylvia Duckworth has this beautiful illustration of the SAMR model. And we think that this can really apply for STEAM integration as well. It's not limited to just technology integration. So as we think about the different levels that teachers can engage in STEAM. It can start anywhere from substitution, where STEAM is used as a direct tool substitute with not a huge change, but STEAM is brought in kind of a lightweight, kind of like the floaties that Marie was alluding to. The next step would be augmentation, where they can start to augment a lesson with STEAM, moving into modification, where they're significantly redesigning a lesson to apply STEAM in more areas. And then lastly, going deeper, that submarine level, redefining a lesson completely and redoing it so that STEAM integration is a key part of that STEAM lesson. So for this year, as we are embarking on our STEAM journey, some of our expected outcomes include engaging in a community-wide vision around STEAM. We've been working closely with Blue Hills to establish them as a STEAM magnet school. We're working with our middle schools to develop plans for use of a makerspace. We're working, as Marie mentioned earlier, on maker carts and developing lessons for those. We are testing those right now, and we want at least 5 of our elementary schools to have access to those, if not more. We also want to have parent nights and a STEAM fair. We're also building a STEAM resource library for our teachers, helping them to find access to good quality resources and curating them for them. We're also redesigning math pathways, as well as beginning that process of identifying NGSS-aligned instructional materials. We're also providing professional growth opportunities for our teachers around STEAM, as well as reopening the Teacher Resource Center as a place for professional development, as well as planning for middle school making and coding electives for the following year. And revisiting our timeline here, we're working with Blue Hills now with plans to launch them as a STEAM magnet school the following year, as well as planning out Sarah. We're also building in maker experiences, whether that's maker carts or maker spaces at our school sites. We're We're continuing our redesign of the Teacher Resource Center and planning to reopen that as a hubbub in 2019 and 20. We're building that STEAM resource library right now, as well as working on NGSS and our math pathways, with that goal of having STEAM throughout CUSD in the years 2021-22. And as we are working on STEAM, we are also communicating with a lot of community partners on ways that they can provide resources for us and help us in this process. So this includes SEAF, the Resource Area for Teaching, the Santa Clara County Office of Education, the D School at Stanford, Apple Computers, and the Cross Center for Innovation. Progress to date. We've been working with our design thinking challenge team. So we had one around redesigning the Teacher Resource Center. We had about 18 participants of both classified and certificated staff providing input and helping us to come up with different ideas of what that space should look like. We are also 3/4 of the way through our STEAM Design Thinking Challenge. We have 21 participants of both certificated and classified staff who have been engaging with us on what does it mean to have STEAM in our district and how might that look. And they are in the process now of designing prototypes and testing them out at their school sites. And so that's been really informative for us because we really wanted to engage staff across the district on providing that input and helping us to define what that should look like. We're also working closely with that Blue Hills staff to shift them to a STEAM school. Maria mentioned earlier our maker carts, and so we've been testing them at school sites this last week, and we're working on our next iteration for improvement for that, as well as we've been meeting with our middle school STEAM electives. Okay, do we have any clarifying questions?
Amy and Marie, thank you so much. I'm sure we do have questions, so I was thinking we'll just start with Anjali and maybe just say one question at a time, and then we'll all have a chance, and then we can keep going around a couple times if we need to.
I just want to say thank you. It's great to see all the work that's been going on STEAM.
So yeah, it's very exciting that this is looking good. I have a question. STEAM or Maker is not, it has a higher barrier than even iPad. What kind of support that we are providing the teachers right now on the school side or at the district?
So professional development will definitely be a big part of this, and part of what we're doing to try to help that process is developing the Maker Cart lessons and the STEAM resource library to make it easier for teachers to access STEAM content and materials.
We also have a whole host of professional development opportunities that we will be offering to the teachers, so that will be starting very soon.
I don't have a question, just a comment. Professional development is really important to me, and I think that that's what really makes it happen in the classroom. So I'm excited about the professional development opportunities you're going to have for teachers, and I would love it if, from time to time, Craig could update us on what's going on with the professional development activities in your weekly update. That would be great. Thank you.
I have a question regarding the Blue Hill is moving forward to the STEAM school. How their community responds to this action?
It's been very strong. I was just meeting with Ms. Prowse earlier today, and they're very excited. She just feels like she has so much support from her parent community for this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Leanne? Yeah. No, I was similar question to Kristen, so go ahead.
Okay. So, regarding the Sarah School, I think, did we reach out to the community around Sarah, whether how would that work out for them? How would the boundary change work? Any feedback from the neighborhood?
Because we don't have a real plan yet, we haven't gotten to engage, but we will be doing that. And since we don't even have a boundary, so I'm not sure who that Sarah community will be yet, right? So we have a lot to define before we can engage. We have put out the word. We've been working with the tenants there, talking about that this is really a 3-year endeavor, so it's not going to happen right away, but we're already in conversation with them. So we will definitely be meeting more with community as we move forward.
Well, I was going to ask a question when you mentioned the maker carts. So basically, you have assembled some maker carts, and then you're taking them to the various elementary schools. And what grades in middle school? Or I just wanted to know more about that.
These are elementary focused, so
Okay.
Our initial lessons have been K2 and 3-5.
Okay.
So the first few lessons that we've created have been connecting the NGSS standards to literacy, and then we're also in the development process of having more design challenges that are digging deeper into the science standards.
I do want to add, if I may, that it is very clear that what we're doing with STEAM is going to align very well with the strategic planning process, because it is one of the things that gets raised a lot. And to some degree, we're trying not to get too far ahead of that, because what we do with STEAM needs to be tied to really the bigger vision of what we want for our children. So as we build that over the year, we will be moving along with the areas that we're ready for. Probably not too much of the speedboat stuff right now, because we really do need to give it time and parallel work with the community, hear from them, hear from staff, from students. So we'll be building that through the whole year and probably for years to come.
And one more.
So the TRC, I remember earlier we were saying that it will be a maker lab at TRC, and here it just says redesign plans for TRC. So what's the plan right now?
We're not real sure. We're not real
so
sure,
you're
but we know we
trying
want
to
it to be
figure.
professional development with a model for STEAM. We don't know that it'll be a makerspace per se, but it will be a place where all of our STEAM-related activities can be modeled, and a place for teachers and other staff to come together and to learn about STEAM. It's really a professional development strategy more than anything.
And in terms of site support, I've seen that other schools, you really need a dedicated person who can provide teacher support and work on lesson plan together. Do we plan to provide the seats with the necessary skills to be the tech person supporting this initiative?
You want to talk about KCI a little bit?
Yes, so we are planning to support our school site instructional technology specialists. We've been providing them different opportunities around STEAM and making so that they start to feel comfortable with this idea. And we're also exploring a partnership with the Cross Center for Innovation to provide professional development in more depth so that they can provide that site support, as you mentioned.
And can you talk about the certificate?
Yes, so part of that professional development is potentially working with them on their maker certificate that they launched this last summer, and having them do a special cohort here with our staff. And that maker certificate would cover pedagogical principles as well as tool-specific and support around maker spaces.
How many hours it will take for the teachers to finish this kind
Remember
of?
how many hours it was? I don't.
They're working on a proposal right now for us, so I think we need to wait until we see how they've defined what that might look like for our staff.
So the teacher, not every teacher will have to do that, only the certain teachers. Sits.
Yeah, our school site instructional technology specialists would do that.
Mhm.
And if anyone has more questions they want to know about STEAM, then you can always email them to Craig to keep us up to date, right? Thank you very much, ladies. So the next item, 5.2, is the LCAP CAS results, and looks like Allison.
There we go. So throughout the year, I'll be providing you some updates on the goals that were set as part of the LCAP last year. And one of the first pieces on that road is taking a look at the CASP results from last spring and checking in on how our results came in compared to the goals that were set as part of the LCAP plan. So this is taking a look at the Smarter Balanced Assessment, which is a portion of CASP. Sometimes we use those names interchangeably, but the portion of CASP that we're talking about is that test that the kids take in the spring, also known as SBAC. So we'll take a quick reminder look at LCAP Goal 1 and the outcomes that were set for this school year, and I'll provide a brief progress update, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do in terms of next steps, because this is a very high-level check-in, and our real work comes in kind of digging deeper into the data with our colleagues at the school sites. And then you'll have a chance to ask some questions. Okay, so our overarching goal in the LCAP, Goal 1, is maintain a keen focus on ensuring student academic success and development of the whole child. And the LCAP requires us to dig into where we see performance gaps in student achievement. So in the LCAP, you may remember that these specific gaps were identified. And typically, to identify those gaps, you're looking at the results of student achievement, thinking about the all student category and then the different student groups. So the areas that were identified in math were the gap between the achievement of all students and our socioeconomically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, and Hispanic students. And in English language arts, it is those same student groups compared to all students. So as part of the LCAP, goals were set to close that proficiency gap in math and also in English language arts between 3 and 5%, so that we're getting closer to closing the gap over time. So looking at that all student group and then the different student groups that were identified in the performance gaps. So in math, we saw students improve across the groups in all of those 3 groups. We met that goal for our socioeconomically disadvantaged students. We did not meet the goal for students with disabilities or Hispanic students, although those groups also bumped up a little bit. So this is the actual data. The 17-18 is the first column, and then the change. So we had an increase in English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and students with disabilities. Also, our African American and Hispanic students. Some remained at 0, and white students declining a little bit. In English language arts, that same goal of reducing the gap by 3 to 5%, and we met that goal for all 3 of the student groups, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, Hispanic students, and students with disabilities. And again, you can see the change results there in the far column. And then by ethnicity. We had a reduction there in our African American students, an increase in most of the other areas, and then remaining the same for Asian students. So overall, our results for all students, that category of all students, continues to be very strong. We have high percentages of our students who are Asian, white, students with 2 or more races, continuing to score proficient or above in both categories, English language arts and math, and we had some significant improvement results for English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, and African American students in math. In English language arts, our results improved significantly for English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, Hispanic students, and students with 2 or more races. In both English language arts and math, even though we have made progress, we can see that we still have significant gaps persisting between the achievement of all students and the achievement of our student groups, English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, African American students, and Hispanic students. So on Monday, we are getting together with our principal team, and this is the time where we really get to dig into that data. We always want to monitor our district progress as a whole, but it's when we start digging into each student, looking closely at each and every student in our schools, and also looking at our CIPSA results, those improvement results that the schools set annually, kind of matches up with LCAP to see what we're noticing. In the CIPSAs, also schools set strategies for how they will be working towards those improvements. And so that is what we're going to be digging into on Monday with our team of principals. Also, this triangle here is our graphic for MTSS. And this is a district-wide improvement strategy that was identified in the LCAP. You've heard a little bit about it on the behavior side of the triangle. Often we see this graphic with academic and behavior, so we talked about that when we had the PBIS presentation. The other side of that is academics. How are we building a tiered system of supports for our students so that they can make gains and also gain confidence as learners? So this data analysis and the CIPSAs is also a part of that longer term work in taking a look at how we structure interventions for our students, how we set up our data system to make it meaningful for principals and teachers to look at data and watch that progress over time between our testing. We're getting into our data collection window where we are gathering information on how it's going with the kids in reading and writing, for example, as we close the trimester. So we will have other opportunities between the CASP test to test to take a look at how it's going and monitor their progress and support our kids in learning. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Anyone have clarifying questions on the presentation? Okay. Phyllis, do you want to go? Okay, go ahead, Leah.
I've been wondering how is our, for example, the Spanish, Hispanic students for math, for example, it's 36 to 37%. How are we compared with other schools district, their Hispanic student population? Are we on par? Are we at least better than other school districts?
I didn't bring that information tonight, but that is definitely something I can report back on.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, we definitely want to improve the gap, but I'm also wondering, are we at least for each subgroup? How compare with the county?
Yeah, I can bring that back.
So not the percent change, but the actual percentages.
Well, just having the benchmark
Yeah.
of state, county in the Bay Area, so we can look at different benchmarks and share that.
We will be able to provide some of that once the California dashboard is updated as well. That information, the dashboard system, is something I'll be sharing with you at the next meeting. These results, we actually just received our final batch of results, but once all of the state data gets loaded into the dashboard, we can report to you, and you'll also be able to click around and do those comparisons anytime you'd like to as well. So we can bring that back and also share with you more about the dashboard so you'll know how to find that.
Phyllis?
Yeah, my theory is that as we look at instructional strategies for kids and improve on those, all students' scores go up. So that makes it more difficult to achieve that 3 to 5% increase over and above that for the challenged students. So my question is, I'm assuming, and I'd just like you to talk a little bit about it, I'm assuming that through MTSS, there are some differentiation strategies that we're using with those at-risk students to help them to make even more progress than the all students. So could you just talk a little bit about that?
So in MTSS, it's a tiered system. So within Tier 1 is for all students. I'll use reading as an example because we're trying out some new tools in reading as part of our reading pilot and also as part of looking at our units of study in reading. One piece of that is setting up a personalized approach for all students in Tier 1, so that, as you're saying, all students are lifted up, because each child in reading or even in writing workshop, the most of their instructional time is working at their instructional level, so you get that lift up, as you're saying, benefiting all students. And then the piece that we're working on with MTSS is beginning those conversations around what happens for the students who need more support than that very personalized model in the classroom. So how can we intensify that support, increasing in frequency, or adding additional supports, using different materials sometimes. Right now, we're at the stage of kind of assessing what are those interventions that all the schools are using. That's part of the conversation on Monday too, because one big important goal of MTSS is to really lift up what are those high leverage, very impactful strategies that we're already using here in the district that we can share across sites, and where are there places where we need to try some new things. Because as you're saying, kids who, when we have a gap, we want to see kids making more than 1 year of progress in a school year. That's the key. It can't just keep moving with the same pace, right? Yeah, so we don't know the answer to that yet here, but we're digging into it, and there's a lot of energy around it. In fact, on Monday, we're trying out it's kind of a mix-it-up protocol for principals to talk about the things that are most on their mind as leadership, and those ideas came from them, and one of the big nuggets is talking about interventions and assessments and how those pieces connect.
I think that's a huge challenge, and I'm glad you're working on it. Thank you.
Kristen?
I just a little bit confused about like how we specifically doing for closing the proficiency gap in the subgroup, because I remember like we probably not able to monitor individually. So I'm not so sure, like, what are we specifically doing for those stuff?
I'll answer, but then if it's not what you're looking for, ask me again, because I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure. So there's a couple different ways of looking at that. One thing I want to point out is when we are using this measure, we're not really, this is not a report on each child. It's the whole group, and then the whole group the next year. So it's not even the same group, right? Because 8th graders are going out, kids are moving up. So it's not something in this format where we're able to hone in on each child, but that is what we're doing on Monday, because we'll be able to say to the principals, let's take a look at your students who did not meet proficiency, and then give them some time to think about where are we in the process. We've had some goal setting conferences already this year. We've had our MTSS team. They're trying out a new teacher collaboration model to have teachers work together to share strategies and expertise for how to support the kids. So we're doing a lot of different things. It might vary across sites. And the honing in on each child is really a school level look. And we'll be also looking at that as part of the SIPSAs, because we kind of have this big broad view here, but then each school has to say, how did our school do with similar charts? And then who are my kids and what do they need and where are they in the support process?
Yeah.
How'd I do on that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I get what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Anyone else on clarifying? Okay, Liang?
Yeah. So Phyllis brought up that if we are improving our teaching strategy, we should see the overall score should go up. But we are seeing now it actually the overall scores remain the same. I'm just curious. We have done a lot of good things, and in math and language art. Do we expect that the overall score should go up, or we hit the top it's just very hard to improve anymore.
Sometimes that
very
can
hard.
be true with very, very high scores. I think maybe bigger than that is, how can we really look for those opportunities to measure each child's progress along the way? So, this is one measure, but digging into how do we know if the kids are growing during the school year is something that is an important topic of conversation right now. So we're trying out some tools that help us see progress along the way. We have had some measures already in place, things like the NWEA, where it's adaptive, for example. We're trying out a new tool in the elementary school called Literably that is, allows the kids to kind of keep going on their reading level or start wherever they may be. So sometimes this isn't the best way to see progress. It's kind of a snapshot view, but I think if we can build out other ways that we're looking at that, we'll be able to see each child's progress a little more clearly. Because it is true that when you get really high, over 90% of kids achieving proficiency, then we have to ask ourselves, well, what else? What else can we look at to really understand each learner's needs? This might not be the measure.
So for each student who hasn't met the standard, you guys will be working on a plan for the student to try to help them along.
Yes, and actually that was written into the LCAP, so I'll be bringing that to the surface again on Monday with the principals. I know they've been working really hard at it, and as we've been going out and talking to them, we have, our teams of 5 schools, me and the directors, we've been going out and really working with them on supporting their leadership and all of that good thinking that they're doing. And I know that I can say definitely with my team, and I've heard my colleagues say the same, a lot of times when we get there, they're pulling out their binder and they're saying, let me tell you about this kid. What I need to know, what's happening with this score or that score, or can you help me get this or that, or this is how we're pulling the teachers together to really work on a support plan. So I see a lot of focus on each child, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity to share across the sites how people are tackling that. And actually, data and using data in that leadership way was another one of the topics that popped up for Monday's Mix It Up conversations, so as well.
Thank you so much. Sounds great. Yeah.
Thank you, Allison. Okay, next up, we have discussion item 6.1. And we have the first read of the board policy public notice personnel negotiations. Stacy?
So this is a new board policy. Government code actually requires us to have some kind of a board policy that outlines how we do negotiations. So this really just captures what we've been doing, where we bring the sunshine articles forward. When we get ready to settle the contract, we bring that forward for ratification. We disclose what those key articles are, and then it goes to board approval. So it really is capturing what we're doing.
Anyone have questions on this for Stacy? So can we just bring it back on consent, or?
I believe so, yeah. And we would just be skipping a second read essentially, and we'll just bring it on consent as action and not as a second read. Yeah.
Thanks, Stacy. 6.2, board policy 6152.1, placement in mathematics courses, grades 6 through 8. And let's see, do we have Allison again? Yes. Welcome back.
Yeah.
And Marie, too.
Yes. Marie and I are excited to hear from you tonight because we are digging into our math pathways discussion, and we shared with you our process, and now we're kind of fully in it. The teachers are meeting again next week, the teacher research team, and we sent out our communication to parents, and the thought exchange has been launched, and we're getting lots of wonderful feedback already. And we'll be looking at the policy as a piece of that. But before we started really digging into that, we wanted to give you a chance to share with us, your hopes for how the policy will match where we're trying to go for kids. And if there are places in the current policy that you feel really, match that vision, then we'd like to know that. If there are specific areas that you think need work, we really want to know that too. Some of these pieces we're starting to hear, along the way this fall, even before we launch the process. We know that there are specific areas of the policy that need attention and conversation. And those things I listed in the executive summary, things such as the placement protocols, the timing of the decisions, how we're communicating and collaborating in partnership with parents and students, the appeal process piece, and the connection to coursework in high school. But stepping back from that, we really just wanted to give you a chance to share your thoughts before we begin our work on the policy.
So we have the attachments that we all had in the presentation. So should we just share our thoughts on the board policy and then see if we want to have a discussion, or what do you want to do?
I just
Angela?
want to see
Yeah.
what is it that the staff wants
Right.
from us at this
Yeah.
point.
I'm
So-
a little unclear too. What
Yeah.
exactly?
I think it was just to get a sense of the things that, because of past conversations or what you know from talking with, whether it's staff or community members, what are there areas that you're hoping that we will focus on as we move forward? Because we're going to be gearing up to bring some changes, and I'll just put up front that it's been a difficult start again this year, as it was when I was first starting last year, with the way the process is and the impact on kids and the experience and how middle schools are starting up, right? I mean, the way kids are entering middle school right now is with either bad news, good news, and there's a sense of who's in, who's out, and it's really it's not what we want, right? It's not what we want for kids, and that is not the intent, I don't think, of a policy. So that's an example of what are the kinds of things that you feel we need to pay attention to, just knowing what you know as we go to rework policy and procedures going forward. We do have some ideas, and we will be bringing those forth, but we felt like without biasing you in any way, first, we ought to give you a chance to just give us any of those ideas that you have. And the truth is, we can do this also. You can just send them to me in writing later. We don't have to do it now, but we wanted to make sure, and honestly, also, we put it out to community that we were doing this, and we thought maybe some parents would come and make comment, which they're not making now, but we've certainly heard from a lot of parents. So we're really trying to do our due diligence in putting out there that we recognize that we need to make some changes that are better for our students and our families. So, and with that, honestly, if you don't have anything like that to add, that's fine too.
I just want to say that I'm excited that we're looking at this, because it is about time that we looked at it again. And I would, love to see what you bring back. I may not be sitting here when you do that, but at the same time, I would, it's great that we're getting input through the thought exchange process from the parents and the community, and would see what your expertise is going to say, how it's going to make it better for us kids. One thing that I'm kind of confused about, or maybe we'll get to it, is to ensure that we are providing what I understand we want to do is that every child kind of works on their level. Will our teachers be able to support that? Or if we expect our teachers to do that, how are we going to support them in order to bring that, for them?
I just have a comment. I know sometimes, and I've heard this from parents as well as from teachers, there's kind of a tug of war between parents and teachers about what parents think their children ought to be able to do in mathematics and what teachers are actually finding is happening in the classroom. And that becomes adversarial many times. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of what's happening with this whole appeal process. So I hope as we look at the policy that we can figure out some way to have some better communication with our parents or something about children's progress, so that there's some agreement and we don't have this. And there's always going to be some of that tug of war business, but it seems to me there's more than there needs to be currently. So hopefully the policy will somehow address that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Kristen.
Okay, so I feel it's very crucial, like all the students, they have a confidence to facing their the level, but also feel it's a little bit challenge. So it's not too easy, it's not too hard. But at the same time, the teacher and the parent and the students all feel, yes, that's the right level for them. So I don't know if we maybe need more complete assessment, because sometimes it's the comprehension about English arts may trigger the different grades. Sometimes it's not because of math, maybe it's because English. So I don't know, that maybe can also put it into the consideration.
I just wanted to share that I read through all the attachments that you gave, and so I'm still processing, but I think what Craig was saying too is we're welcome to email you later, or Craig, any comments we have on the thoughts that we've read here so far. Yeah, Liang.
Okay, so yeah, I think you captured all the things that people have concern about really well. One thing to add is the transparency of the process. I think parents want to have better picture how everything will be evaluated. And then I think every year there are people complain, oh, this one other person get this thing and how that happened. And just a more transparent procedure here are how everything will be done. And then maybe try to have more objective standards so that the teachers don't have to have this tug of war with parents. I've seen I think Palo Alto School District, they use a certain point system. If they turning over the homework, I know there are different points. And because math, a lot of time is also discipline. It's when you have good discipline, you get good grade. But then a really smart kid who doesn't have the discipline or the emotional matureness might not be suitable for a higher grade. Then maybe if we have certain objective standard, that might be easier when communicating with parents.
Thank you. And I agree with you, Liang. I think a lot of the ideas were captured here in the document, so thank you. Okay. So we're moving on to the action item 8.1, approval of appointments to the Citizens Measure H Bond Oversight Committee. So Jeff, is there anyone here today from? No, okay. So may I have a motion?
I move 8.1.
Anjali moves. May I have a second?
I second.
Kristen seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next, the appointments to the Citizens Parcel Tax Oversight Committee. Jeff, anyone here today? Okay. So may I have a motion?
I move.
Phyllis moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Anjali seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. I just want to comment, it's fine that they're not here tonight. I just didn't want to miss them if they were here, but we do really appreciate the people that serve on those committees. Thank you if you're out there. 8.3. Ratification of tentative agreements on compensation and reclassification between CUSD and CSEA. May I have a motion?
I move 8.3.
Kristen moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Anjali seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next up is item 9, board and superintendent activity. Are you tired of me saying you're first, Anjali? I see you first, so why don't you go ahead if you have any? Okay. Liang? Okay. Phyllis? Kristen?
I pass.
Okay. I have one, which is last time we had a presentation from some staff members and some staff from Montclair about PBIS, and there was a member in the audience that was from the school that was presenting, but I didn't realize that they were from the staff in that school, so I felt very badly that I didn't acknowledge them. I did reach out to the teacher, and she was very gracious, and what she really wanted to say is that she wholeheartedly supported PBIS, and so I wanted you all to know that was what she was going to say, and she sent me an email saying her feelings about it. So that's why I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anyone in the audience today, but of course today no one's here. So, but anyway, I just wanted to update you on that. Do you have anything? Okay. So future agenda items. Okay. Any public comments on closed session? Okay. So before we go to closed session, I did remember Renee, stay near here so that Renee could get us to sign. Nothing to sign. That I remembered that, and there's nothing to sign. And also, oh, it's only okay. Do you want to break before closed session, or everyone's ready? Okay. So we'll go that way for closed session. Okay. So, okay, we're at 7:16. We're adjourned to closed session.